Welcome to Kart Class, brought to you by 18 times Australian champion David Serra. Kart Class strives to give kart racing drivers the fundamental driving skills, kart setup, and the mindset required to take you from beginner to winner. Your host, David Serra, has over 25 years' experience in kart racing and is the most successful driver in Australian history.
Good day, guys, and welcome back to Kart Class, where we're trying to get your drivers going from beginner to winner and give you guys some information in regards to driving, to kart setup, and also the mental side of things as well. So, like I said, really excited to be able to help you guys out as much as I possibly can. Today we're going to be trying to discuss tyre pressures. So, how to know whether you got the right tyre pressure, how much they should increase, and also, how much role they play in regards to lap times, to kart setup, and to the feedback that a driver gets when they're actually driving as well. So, in regards to tyre pressures, it's a very critical aspect of how the kart's going to perform throughout the duration of its race. So, now tyre pressure is going to be detrimental in regards to if they're too low, it might take a longer time for them to increase in temperature. Obviously, as they increase in temperature, it's going to increase the grip as well. So, generally, in general terms, the lower the tyre pressure, the slower they're going to be at the start of the race, and the faster they're going to be at the end of the race once they increase in pressure. So it's obviously going to be better suited to your stickier compound tyres, your warmer conditions in summer, and depending on the grip level that you've got on the racing track. Now, when it comes to also the racing distance as well, because if you've got like an 8-lap heat race, you're not going to want to set your tyres too low because you're never going to get that maximum performance from your tyres. Obviously, on the flip side is the higher tyre pressures are generally creating more heat in the tyres, generally more grip, but whether that can be sustained for the duration of your race or your session. So again, if it's too high in the temperature in the day or there's too much grip on the track, the higher tyre pressures might work for 2 or 3, 4 laps and then slowly drop off in performance as the session goes on. Now, when we're looking to set our tyre pressures, because we've got no idea what sort of pressure we should be setting our tyres at, you don't want to sort of see an increase from cold pressure to hot pressure when you come off the circuit of any more than 3 psi. Now, generally, if your tyres are coming in, sort of 3 to 4, even maybe 5 psi higher than what you originally started. So, for example, is you go on 15 psi, you come in after the session, you check them, and there's one at 18 or 19 psi. Anything more than 3, your starting pressure is too high. So I'd be trying to aim for between sort of 2 to 3 psi increase from the starting pressure, and that sort of seems to be generally a pretty good rule. Another thing to take into account is also when you're checking your pressures from when you leave before you go into the track to when you come in, is that you'll notice that when you come in, not all 4 tyres are going to be coming in at the same pressure, because it's going to be there's going to be more left-hand corners to right-hand corners, or the rear tyres are generally going to be doing a lot more load than what the front tyres are, because there's sort of more weight on the rear of the kart than there is on the front of the kart, so that's going to have to come into consideration as well. So again, just the hypothetical number is we're starting out all our 4 tyres on 15 psi, and when we come in, one tyre's at the right rear is at 18, the fronts are at 16, and the left rear is at 17. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to actually, it's not a perfect balance because we've got 4 tyres that aren't at the same pressure. So again, that's where it comes back into adjusting your tyre pressures before you hit the circuit so that when you come in, they're all the same. And that gives you the best balance, and then that gives you obviously the best control on the racing track as well. So you might have to look to stagger your tyre pressures. Again, that's going to be in regards to how many left-hand corners compared to how many right-hand corners, how sticky your tyres are. If you've got a super sticky tyre, you want to set the rear tyres a little bit less than the front tyres. So again, it's about gaining that balance between all 4 tyres when you come in off the racing track. Also try and work towards a hot pressure, so when you come off the track, and get that as your main focus, because if you find that at 16 psi, for example, that's where the tyre pressures work their best, and then 2 months later you go to the racing track and your performance isn't very well and you're looking at tyres on at 15 psi, you know that at 16, that's where the tyres perform at their best. So then you can look to increase the pressure hot, so you get it back to that 16, and that's where you know that that you've got to start them once they cool down, and that can be your new starting pressure as well. So again, that the higher the pressure, general rule is higher in temperature straight away. So initially, colder conditions, harder compound tyres. Generally, the higher you are under pressure, the more grip you're going to gain initially, which is a good thing for kids who are starting out, or even drivers who are going to be driving in cooler conditions or harder compound tyres. When it comes to our stickier tyres, again, like I'm saying, you probably don't want to see an increase of any more than 3 psi. Again, trying to keep it so you're probably looking for your tyre pressures in a race to perform to their maximum at about 80% race distance. So if it's a 10 lap race, you're probably looking to see your best lap times around that lap 8, because then you've at least reached your maximum before your tyres start to hit a little bit of a wall and they have a slow decrease in lap times as well and performance as well. So again, if you're doing your best lap on lap 3 and then you continue getting slower and slower and slower, you can look to bleed out some pressure. And when we're talking bleeding out some pressure, we're probably talking between, again, if it's lap 3 and you want to get to lap 6, you're probably looking at, probably 0.5, probably half a PSI lower. Again, if it's lap 3 of a 10 lap race, you're probably looking to go a bit more than that, probably 1 to 1.5 PSI per tyre. Again, try and remember that all 4 tyres want to come in off the circuit to be the same pressure. The other thing to look out for is that when the tyres are too high in the pressures, it's going to feel very nice to drive at the beginning of the race, and then if you feel the kart starting to slide, so initially you've got great grip, then as you do more and more and more laps, you're starting to lose grip. That's when the tyre's getting too hot. So again, if you're too low in the pressures and you're feeling that the kart's very, very slippery at the beginning of the session, and then it gets more and more grip as you come on, obviously then you know you're starting off a little bit too low, and that the session's going to be past you before you can get to your maximum. So that's a little bit in regards to tyre pressures, how it feels, when to run higher pressure, when to run lower pressure, and how to stagger your pressures to give you the best possible performance throughout the whole session. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Obviously, if you do like it, please give us a subscribe and leave us a review. If you've got any subjects or information that you want to know more about, feel free to let us know at www.kartclass.com.au. We can provide you with all your racing tips to help you move from the rear of the field up to the front of the field. Thanks for joining us. Cheers.
If you've enjoyed today's episode and want to learn more about your kart racing, be sure to check out kartclass.com.au for driving courses catered to all skill levels.